Welcome to ZoomInData. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining this focused session on security best practices for Azure Functions. Today we will go through 25 essential questions and the detailed answers, the ones most commonly asked in AZ204, AZ400, AZ305 certifications, senior developer interviews, and real-world production security reviews in 2026. We will cover everything from key management and managed identities to private endpoints, zero trust patterns, secrets handling, OWASP compliance, Defender for Cloud, and a complete production security checklist. If you are preparing for certification, an interview, or securing functions in production, this session will give you clear, ready-to-use knowledge. If you find it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to ZoomInData for more Azure deep dives. Let us begin. What are key security best practices for Azure Functions? Always use managed identities instead of keys or connection strings whenever possible. Enable HTTPS only for HTTP triggers and restrict inbound traffic with networking rules. Follow the least privilege principle for identities and access roles. Store all secrets in Azure Key Vault, never in app settings or code. Enable private endpoints and VNet integration for production workloads. Use Application Insights and Defender for Cloud for monitoring and threat detection. Validate all input and implement proper authorization checks. How do you manage function keys securely? Function keys should only be used for development or internal testing, never in production for external clients. Generate keys in the Azure portal under Function Keys or App Keys. Store keys in Azure Key Vault and reference them in app settings using @Microsoft.KeyVault syntax. Rotate keys regularly and revoke immediately if compromised. Use Azure Monitor alerts to detect unusual key usage patterns. Explain least privilege principle for functions. The least privilege principle means granting only the minimum permissions required for a function to operate. Use managed identities with custom RBAC roles instead of contributor or owner. Example: a function reading from storage needs only storage blob data reader role, not full storage account contributor. Apply this to both inbound access, function keys, easy auth, and outbound access, managed identities. Regularly review roles using Azure AD Access Reviews. How do you use managed identities in functions? Enable system-assigned or user-assigned managed identity in the function app right-pointing arrow identity blade. Grant the identity only the required RBAC roles on target resources, e.g., Key Vault Secrets user. In code, use default Azure credential to authenticate, no secrets or keys needed. Works for accessing Key Vault, storage, Cosmos DB, SQL, and other Azure services. Preferred method in production. Eliminates secret management risk. What is the role of private endpoints? Private endpoints assign a private IP address in your VNet to Azure Functions. This eliminates public internet exposure for inbound and outbound traffic. Traffic stays within Azure backbone, no public DNS resolution. Critical for regulated workloads, finance, healthcare, requiring network isolation. How do you restrict inbound traffic? Go to Function App right-pointing arrow networking right-pointing arrow access restrictions. Add allow rules for specific IP ranges, VNets, or service tags. Set default action to deny, only approved sources can reach the function. Combine with private endpoints for complete isolation in production. Explain CORS configuration best practices. CORS, cross-origin resource sharing, is configured in Function App right-pointing arrow CORS section. Allow only trusted origins. Never use asterisk in production. Set allowed methods, GET, post, and headers explicitly. Enable credentials only if needed and validate on the client side. Use API management as a proxy for more advanced CORS control. How do you handle secrets in app settings? Never store secrets directly in app settings. They are not encrypted at rest. Reference secrets from Azure Key Vault using @Microsoft.KeyVault syntax in app settings. Example: my secret @Microsoft.KeyVault. Vault name equals my vault. Secret name equals my secret. Use managed identity to access Key Vault. No keys or passwords in code or config. What is Key Vault integration for secrets? Azure Key Vault is the secure storage for secrets, keys, and certificates. Functions access Key Vault using managed identity. No credentials stored. Secrets are referenced in app settings or fetched in code with Key Vault SDK. Key Vault supports automatic rotation and access auditing. How do you secure durable function state? Durable functions store orchestration state in Azure Storage by default. Use private endpoints for storage. Enable managed identity for state access. No storage keys in config. Encrypt sensitive state data before saving. Use Key Vault for encryption keys. Use Azure policy to enforce private endpoints on storage accounts. Explain HTTPS-only enforcement. In Function App, Networking, TLS, SSL settings. Set HTTPS only to on. This redirects all HTTP traffic to HTTPS and rejects non-HTTPS requests. Required for production, prevents man-in-the-middle attacks. Combine with custom domain plus Azure managed certificates. How do you prevent injection attacks? Validate and sanitize all user input. Never trust query strings, body, or headers. Use parameterized queries for SQL or Cosmos DB calls. Avoid dynamic code execution or eval-like functions. Use Azure API Management or WAF to block common injection patterns. What is the role of VNet integration? VNet integration allows outbound traffic from your Function app to go through your virtual network. Enables private endpoints for outbound calls to Azure services. Critical for zero trust. No public internet exposure for dependencies. Available in premium and dedicated plans, not consumption. How do you monitor security events? Enable diagnostic settings. Send to log analytics. Query for authentication failures. Traces, where message contains authentication failed. Use Azure Monitor alerts for unusual patterns. Example, many 401 403rds responses. Integrate with Microsoft Sentinel for advanced threat hunting. Explain input validation in HTTP triggers. Always validate request body, query parameters, and headers. Use schema validation, JSON schema in .NET or Joy in Node.js. Check content length to prevent large payload attacks. Sanitize input to prevent XSS or injection. Never trust client data. Explain input validation in HTTP triggers. Always validate request body, query parameters, and headers. Use schema validation, JSON schema in .NET or Joy in Node.js. Check content length to prevent large payload attacks. Sanitize input to prevent XSS or injection. Never trust client data. What is the impact of OpenAuth levels? Anonymous level allows anyone to call the function. High risk of abuse or DDoS. Function level requires key. Still vulnerable if key is leaked. Admin level gives full app access. Catastrophic if compromised. Use anonymous only for public read-only endpoints. Prefer Entra ID or managed identity. How do you secure custom handlers? Custom handlers, example. Go, Rust, run in isolated containers. Use managed identity for Azure calls. Validate all input in handler code. No trust in runtime. Use HTTPS only and private endpoints. Monitor handler logs in Application Insights. Explain certificate-based auth for service principals. Create service principal with certificate credential in Entra ID. Upload certificate to function app right pointing arrow TLS, SSL settings. Use certificate for outbound calls or client authentication. More secure than client secret. No rotation needed if certificate is long-lived. How do you comply with OWASP for functions? OWASP Top 10 applies. Validate input. Use parameterized queries. Enable HTTPS only. Avoid storing secrets in code. Use Key Vault. Implement rate limiting and IP restrictions. Use Defender for Cloud to scan for vulnerabilities and misconfigurations. What is the role of Defender for Cloud? Defender for Cloud provides threat detection, vulnerability scanning, and security recommendations. Detects unusual function activity. Example. Abnormal invocation patterns. Alerts on misconfigurations, public endpoints, missing encryption. Integrates with Sentinel for automated response. How do you scan for vulnerabilities? Enable Defender for Cloud vulnerability scanning on Function app. Scan container images if using custom containers. Use GitHub Advanced Security for code scanning in source repo. Review recommendations in Defender for Cloud dashboard weekly. Explain secure coding practices. Never hardcode secrets or keys. Use Key Vault or managed identities. Validate and sanitize all input to prevent injection attacks. Use parameterized queries for data access. Log without exposing sensitive data. Mask PII. Follow OWASP guidelines and use static analysis tools. How do you handle logging of sensitive data? Never log full payloads containing PII, credit cards, or tokens. Mask or hash sensitive fields before logging. Logger. Log information, processed user, user ID, user ID hash. Use Application Insights data masking features. Enable Azure policy to audit logs containing sensitive patterns. What is the overall security checklist for production functions? Use managed identities for all Azure Service Access. No keys or secrets. Enable HTTPS only and private endpoints for all traffic. Restrict inbound access with IP rules or VNet integration. Store secrets in Key Vault. Reference in app settings. Use Easy Auth with Entra ID for HTTP triggers. No anonymous access. Enable Defender for Cloud and set up alerts for threats. Validate input. rotate keys, audit logs, and scan regularly. Thank you for watching this complete guide to authentication and authorization best practices in Azure Functions, from easy auth to managed identities and zero trust patterns. If this session helped you with certifications, interviews, or securing your functions, please like, share, and subscribe to ZoomInData. More Azure deep dives are coming soon. Stay connected and keep learning. Thank you. See you in the next video.